One man threw away a major on the 72nd hole. Another swung once, hit the ball twice, and walked off like nothing happened. These weren't amateurs on the weekend. They were world-class players at the peak of their careers. Today, we're going through the absolute dumbest golf shots ever recorded. Some were born of ego, some from panic, and some from pure bad luck. But every single one turned into history. Le Golf National in France was hostile territory. The European crowd was relentless. The American team was unraveling, and every shot carried the weight of national pride. Patrick Reed, Captain America himself, stood on the 13th tee alongside Tiger Woods. It was the kind of stage he craved, the perfect chance to silence the crowd. But in golf, when you chase a moment, it usually chases you back. His drive leaked left toward the water, the kind of swing you know is wrong the instant it leaves the club face. What followed wasn't just a penalty, it was an on-air outburst so raw the microphones picked up every syllable. Europe took the match, the crowd fed off the chaos, and Reed's hero moment became a lesson. Golf doesn't care about your script, eh? But if Paris was about ego, the next story is about something worse. Repeating the same mistake again and again, until the course has had its fill. 17 at Sawgrass, one of golf's shortest holes, and one of its most feared. Bob Tway stood there in 2005 at 7 under par, just 4 shots off the lead. Then the wind started whispering lies. His first shot splashed long into the water. From the drop zone, another sailed over. Then came 3 more swings, each one clipped perfectly on the front, each one spinning cruelly back into the drink. By the time he finally held the green, his card already looked like a horror novel. Add 3 putts, and you've got a 12. The highest score ever recorded on the 17th. 9 over on 1 hole. A textbook in how panic convinces you to keep trying the same thing, expecting a different result. And yet, sometimes it isn't panic. Sometimes it's precision punished by physics. Dustin Johnson once flushed a wedge at Sawgrass so perfectly it was tracking dead at the pin. The crowd leaned in, expecting it to finish close. Instead, it smacked the flagstick head-on and ricocheted into the water. Think about that. Too accurate became the problem. Golf has a twisted sense of humor. The very target you're trained to hit can betray you. What should have been a kick-in birdie turned into a double bogey. Johnson smiled through it, but deep down he knew. Sometimes the dumbest shot is also your best one, if fate decides otherwise. But while DJ's disaster came from physics, Tiger Woods' mistake came from the rulebook. Second round, 15th hole. Woods was tied for the lead, wedge in hand, flag in sight. He hit one of the purest shots of his career, until it smacked the pin and spun back into the pond. Already brutal, but what came next was worse. Tiger dropped his ball 2 yards behind his original divot to give himself a better number. He even admitted it later. The problem? The rules said he had to drop as near as possible. 2 yards was enough to trigger a 2-shot penalty. Overnight, his 71 turned into a 73, and the 4 shots he lost ended up being the exact margin he finished behind. Augusta doesn't just test your swing, it tests your precision with the rulebook. If Tiger's nightmare was technical, T.C. Chen's was unforgettable for another reason. He made one swing count twice. T.C. Chen, leading by 4, looked destined to become the first Asian major winner. Then came the 5th hole at Oakland Hills. His ball sat in thick rough. He swung, the club slid under, and momentum carried it through again, smacking the ball at thigh height. 1 motion, 2 contacts. By the rules then, it was a penalty. Suddenly, he turned a routine up and down into a quadruple bogey. His lead vanished, and Andy North lifted the trophy. The name 2-Chip Chen followed him forever. In golf, sometimes 1 second defines a career, but Augusta doesn't need thick rough to break you. Sometimes a postcard hole is enough. Jordan Spieth stood on the 12th tee with a 5-shot lead. The jacket looked certain. Then he pulled a shot short into Rays Creek. From the drop zone, nerves took over. He chunked it again. Another splash. By the time he found dry land, he was hitting his 5th. A quadruple bogey later, his Masters defense was gone. What stung most wasn't just the collapse. It was how fast it happened. In less than 15 minutes, one of golf's brightest stars went from certain victory to brutal heartbreak. Augusta never blinks. You blink. It takes everything. And if Spieth's collapse was a sudden ambush, Ernie Els came from the slowest car crash you'll ever watch. First green, first round. Ernie Els had 3 feet for par. It should have been automatic. Instead, he yipped it once, then again, then again. By the time he holed out, he had taken 6 putts from 3 feet. A 9 on a par 4 before his week had even started. Later, he described it as snakes in my head, a phrase that perfectly captured what the yips feel like. Not physical, mental. The hands freeze, the mind panics, and the hole gets smaller every time you miss. Even 4-time major winners aren't safe when the putter forgets how to move. But while nerves haunted Els, raw momentum crushed Bryson, Torrey Pines. Bryson DeChambeau, defending champion, made the turn with a share of the lead. Then came the back 9, bogey, double, another bogey. Then the 17th delivered a brutal quad. In the span of an hour, he went from leading to tied for 26th. 8 over on the back. He later shrugged it off as just golf. But to everyone else, it was the most scientific player in the world completely losing the plot. Sometimes the hardest choice isn't swinging harder, it's stopping the spiral before it eats your card alive. If Bryson's nightmare was self-inflicted, Matt Wallace's was so bizarre the rulebook had to step in. Wallace striped a pure iron at the 12th in Italy, then vanished. Nobody saw the ball until it deflected left into trouble. The culprit? A power line dangling above the fairway. By the letter of model local rule E11, any ball striking that wire doesn't count. Replay the stroke, no penalty. Wallace re-teed, flushed the same club, and stuck it to 5 feet for birdie. Some disasters write themselves into history. This one got erased by a footnote in the rulebook, proof that sometimes the dumbest-looking shot doesn't count at all. But now, let's go back to the biggest collapse golf has ever seen. Final hole. 3-shot lead. History calling. Jean van de Velde needed a double bogey to win. He pulled driver instead of iron, ricocheted off the grandstand, hacked out of rough, splashed into the Barry Burn, and waded in barefoot as the world watched in disbelief. He made triple, limped into a playoff, and lost. The image of him standing in the burn with shoes off is one of the sport's most infamous photos. More than a collapse, it was a masterclass in ignoring the safest option at every single turn. But collapse isn't limited to the past. Even the current world #1s aren't immune. Sahali Country Club. Nelly Korda arrived as world #1. She opened with a confident 69. The next day, an 81, her worst score as a pro. 8 bogeys, 1 double, missed cut. No water ball needed. Just mistake compounding mistake until even the smoothest swing in the women's game looked ordinary. The lesson is brutal. Golf doesn't care about your ranking. Once a round starts unraveling, pressing harder usually makes it worse. And if Sahali broke Nelly, Carnoustie broke John, and Augusta broke Spieth, then the final lesson is clear. From Sawgrass to Augusta, Paris to Carnoustie, these stories carry the same theme. Golf punishes emotion. Chase a hero shot, you feed the water. Tilt after 1 mistake, you make 5 more. Forget the rulebook, you lose 2 strokes. Freeze with nerves, you 6-putt from 3 feet. Golf doesn't care about talent or titles. It cares about patience, about boring decisions, about knowing when to step back, swallow your pride, and take the safe play. So the next time you're standing over a shot that tempts you to go for glory, remember Bob Tway's 12, Spieth's drop zone chunk, or Van de Velde's barefoot wade. Sometimes the dumbest shot isn't the one you hit, it's the one you even tried. And if you enjoyed this look at golf's worst decisions, wait until you see the other side. The smartest recoveries ever pulled off under pressure. Click the video in the middle of your screen and enjoy the flip side.